Philip, main story, chapter 13. It took several seconds for me to understand what had happened before my very eyes. But the sound of the howling wind and the striking of steel on steel, and then the sound of something falling. This can't be.
Whoa, it really went flying. Ah, crud. Isn't that guy supposed to be some important author or something? Well, it's not like it matters, after all. We're all dead anyway. We're all dead already.
I watched in stunned silence as the soldiers caroused in unison. Philip. I ran to the place where Philip had been only moments before. My unbeating heart seemed to be ringing around my ears. No, this can't be happening. Not when we just... I surveyed ahead with a shaking head, and there I saw a cavern that looked just like a demon opening its black mouth. You have to be dead to have survived it. But a living being like Philip...
Come over here now, princess. If you were to fall, you'll break that pretty face of yours. And if that happened, it would be impossible to fix.
I sharply glared at the member of a guard who held his hand out to me.
What do you think you are going to do? What a nosy bunch you are.
I spun around at the sound of those familiar voices. The voices of an elegant and a beautiful soprano. A jolt of nerves ran through the soldiers at the sight of the two of them coming out of the vehicle in front.
Princess, what is the meaning of this behavior, and just before your wedding?
It was plain to see how unimpressed he was by the slight sight of expiration that left his perfectly formed lips as he asked,
Lord Orlando, what do you want to do? There isn't much time left. We don't have much choice. Sonny, you get the princess changed here. There's something else I must do. I'll leave you in charge here. All right? It's not all right at all, but understood.
The two of them didn't quite seem to be on the same page, and I only heard their words in my subconscious. I still could not leave the window side. I sat there stunned. Orlando came up behind me and held me steady by my shoulders. The locomotive gave a sudden lurch, and a single tear fell from my blurry eyes, and he swallowed up by the floor. What do I do now? What about Philip? Is he dead?
Princess, there have been no new reports of a deceased in Niflheim at this present moment.
Orlando's smooth, deep voice in that moment sounded more like a cacophony. He then gave me details that only I could hear. I'm sorry, but it would appear that your living friend did not come here. He spoke as kindly as an adult might might do in admonishing a child, and yet the content of his words was so chilling that my mind ceased to function. So he really is. All I could do was look up at him in shock, my eyes growing wide. My unbeating heart was throbbing at an unprecedented pace, and Orlando's words reverberated in my head. What did he just say? My hope faded as the truth dawned on me. Orlando seemed to sense my emotions. He touched me as gently as he would any broken creature. Philip's not coming here? I'll never even get the chance to see him again? The vision of that deep, dark cavern flashed in my mind some more. We had passed one another, scared and yet still wanted one another, and had finally connected. But we cut.
Come here, princess. Quickly now.
I went to her when she called, and she led me to a carriage that had been set up as a changing room. I need to get my thoughts in order. I can't just turn my brain off. I can't show any weakness. I cannot give up based on information that hasn't even been verified yet. If I have even 1% of my hope left, Sunny was just setting up a chair so she could fix my makeup when I looked at her in the eye and spoke. Sunny.
Don't be a sore loser, princess. Sit down.
But I was not to be discouraged by Sunny's slightly harsh words. I refused to quit. Philip waited 1 years in this dangerous place just to keep his promise to me. I can do it too. I would be fine so long as I could be brave. I would not let hope slip away from me. Sunny, I like you. Just as I like His Majesty, Orlando, and everyone else in this room, I would be happy. I chose my words carefully. I held her attention so she would fully understand the feelings I needed to express. But as a deceased person, there is one thing that I will never give up. I would show one last display of resistance before getting into my wedding clothes. It was much quieter in this carriage compared to the others because there were no windows open. My voice rang loud and clear. I want you to stop this train. I'm getting off and going to look for Philip.
Don't be silly, Miss Jandy. I think you should stick to things only in your sleep.
He's very important to me. I never left someone else the way I love him. Her expression remained unchanged, but I had the impression that she was thinking long and hard, said, because she could not answer right away. I spoke before she could make up her mind. I'm going to stop this train. I don't expect you to help me, but I want you to allow me to leave.
Do you really think that I would just let you go? If so, I must admire your naivety.
And you do realize that even if you did stop the train and went looking for him, you would be faced with severe punishment. I seemed to laugh at the lunacy of it, but I had no intention of backing down even one step. I'll take that punishment. They can put me in prison or even torture me. But I'm still going to go and search for Philip. I shuddered without taking my eyes off of Sunny for a single moment. I wanted her to see how unshakable my resolve really was. The carriage became silent once I finished speaking, and I could hear Sunny sighing deeply. She looked down, and I could make out her.